As I told you, sexual harassment are of many forms, ranging from an offensive gesture to rape. Everything comes under sexual harassment. Whether it is an offensive gesture which make us feel uncomfortable, whether there are vulgar comments, whether there are unsuitable body movements, whether a colleague cracks double meaning jokes with you without your consent, whether they talk about obscene things, whether they indirectly or directly ask about sexual favors and rape. So maybe a gesture may be a mildest form of sexual harassment. Rape is the most strong form, but everything in between count as sexual harassment. And let us be very clear about it. We are not going to tolerate anything from this ever again from now on. Here, it is a very delicate but pertinent issue to be discussed about marital rape, right? You getting married to someone absolutely doesn't give them a right to touch you, to have sexual relations with you without your consent. Remember, physical relationship is always consentence. It cannot be without a consent of either side, either a male or a female. And if this happens, this absolutely legally counts into marital rape. But we keep quiet. It's a very delicate social issue. We dare not talk about it. Log kya kahenge? We are living in a society, a so-called cultured and sophisticated society. So we dare not talk about rape. More so, we dare not talk about marital rapes, right? We have to, just a moment, sorry to interrupt. So, the society doesn't let us. See, the sad scenario of our society is how many of us speak about sexual harassment. अगर आपको, if someone tells you that I am a victim of sexual harassment, what would be your lookout towards that person, him or her, right? Let me tell you, don't feel that we are talking about feminism. I absolutely do not believe in feminism, because according to me there is nothing like feminism. If at all, it is only about humanism and nothing else. Feminism, we talk about superiority, being superior than men. No, let us be very equal. If at all there is any difference between a man and woman, it is only biological and absolutely nothing else. Please remember. So please don't confuse this with feminism. And of course, there are many males, there are many men who suffer from sexual harassment. Our sympathies, our support should go out to them too. But the worldwide numbers, figures, and person tell us that it is largely who are the women who are the victim. And so our focus today would be on the women victim, who are the respondents of sexual harassment, right? So law says, the 2013 POSH, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, tells us that this all come under Sexual Harassment Act, and we can legally fight in the court of law against any of these gestures done by anybody. Just a moment, please. So this is the sexual harassment pyramid, as all of you can see. Our attitudes and beliefs are largely responsible for what is happening in our societies right now, right? The next comes problematic language. I'll come to when we'll talk about the causes of sexual harassment, we'll talk about this part. Next comes harassment, abuse, and threats, which may be verbal, written, or in action. And the acutest, the strongest are rape and sexual assaults. This is the mildest, but the most widely prevalent. and this is the strongest but comparatively less prevalent. You know, you can police, you can go to the police, you can go to the court for the mildest comment like you are dark, you are fat, you are ugly. But in a country like India, where our court is busy solving issues of murders and extortions and rape, who would listen to our atrocity demands, right? तो ये काम कोर्ट नहीं कर सकेगी. कोर्ट will not be in a position to do this. It is we who have to take up everything. We as a society need to fight it out together. सोच बदलो, देश बदलो. Let's start together. It's 100 of us today. It'll be 200 of us tomorrow. That way, let's make India a beautiful place for everyone to stay in, right? Next, we talk about just a moment. So someone has very, very rightly said, people, someone has very rightly said, rape is not about violence. I mean, rape is absolutely not about sex. It's about violence. If a person hits you with a spade, you wouldn't call it gardening, right? It's not gardening. It's something else. That way, rape is not sex. It's sheer violence. And we need to curb it right now. Sexual harassment, unlike what we think that it is prevalent in Asian countries, no, it is prevalent worldwide. Yes, the degree may vary with country, with continent. It is spread across all the social, economical, educational and religious sections. जितना reach में है उतना poor people में है. The ways, the means, the degree must be different, but the trauma that a lady feels is all the same. Sexual harassment can take place anywhere, at schools, colleges, workplace, streets, and home. So ironical, right? At home. Home is meant to be the safest place ever. Yet, ladies are victim of sexual violence there too. By the husbands, by the father-in-laws, by other members of in-laws. Yes, that happens. Who can be the accused of a sexual harassment? Anyone, your relative, your friend, your teacher, your neighbor, your colleague, your boss, or a complete stranger. Now, this is something really very important as we are going to talk about workplace, the sexual harassment at workplace, how to recognize it, how to prevent it, how to prohibit it, and how to curb it. These are some of the mildest to the strongest form of sexual harassment taking place at the workplace. See, if someone asks for sexual favors in exchange of work benefits, you know, someone will tell you, I'll give you promotion. Your boss tells you, I'll give you promotion, higher pay, a status in the office only if you succumb to my sexual favors. That's a sexual harassment. If you don't succumb to that, they'll provide you an absolutely hostile work environment, which makes you absolutely impossible to work in that environment. That is sexual harassment. They pass derogatory comments based on your gender, your color, your body. That is sexual harassment. Coming to body, you know, it is such a sad scenario in India that only fair is beautiful. Only a hairless body is beautiful. Our beauty standards are very mediocre, very unrealistic. What we fail to understand is beauty is something skin deep. Beauty is something what is inside. If at all there was a measurement scale to measure the beauty of the heart or beauty of the skin, we would have been a much happier species. We continuously, you know, even in our matrimonial advertisement, people want guys who are tall, dark and handsome, but girls who are shorter than the men, fair, beautiful. such stupid standards of beauty, right? And then we call ourselves an unhappy nation. We have made, so you know, girls from the very beginning subconsciously understand that I need to work on my looks, I need to work on my body more than my education qualification. How would those girls give importance to their own education if this happens? Let's change the mindset. If at all you want to buy a fairness cream, if at all, buy it for your heart, buy it for your mind, buy it for your soul. That is where miracles will happen. Correct? So, in your office, we continue with this. In your office, yes, if there is a presence of pornographic material which you do not approve of, double meaning cartoons, posters, if someone writes you an email of sexual nature, if someone comments about your personal behavior, if someone pats you where you are very uncomfortable, strokes you, grabs you, pinches you, makes you obscene phone calls, all these are forms of sexual harassment. If someone, and if you do not succumb to what they say, they spread lies about you, they talk about your personal life, they talk about your sex life, right? They implicitly or explicitly promise you of preferential treatment in the employment. They interfere with your work. They make things difficult for you. They humiliate you in public in front of all staff. All this fall under sexual harassment, right? Now, most important, the law, the government is with you for sexual harassment prohibition. But what will the government alone do? It's we who need to buck up, who need to talk of, right? uh, all of you will agree to me that हम अपने female child को, to our female toddlers, at a very young age we give them dolls to play with, kitchen sets to play with, Barbie houses to play with, right? And to our male child we give them guns, cars, motorbikes, planes, bat and ball. Agar, if you give bat and ball to a guy and if you give kitchen set to a girl, how would you expect a female Virat Kohli 20 years later, right? Then to Virat Kohli male hi banega. There would be no female Virat Kohli ever coming in India. There would be no girls flying planes. There would be no girls flying. इसलिए ही अगर आज वो गुंजन शर्मा कुछ कर रही है, so we need to talk of her. Why do we need to talk of her? Because it is so uncommon in India. It's only male who dominate. It's only male chairmen who dominate the boardroom. They storm the meetings in the boardroom. It's only males who fly the fighter planes. It's only male who are the principals of colleges. Because from the very tiny age, we are sowing the seeds of discrimination. You are a girl. You need to take care of of your dad. You can eat after only your dad has eaten, right? Gender roles we have divided. We have strictly, see, I'll tell you what, there is patriarchy at our home. All of you must be mildly or strongly feeling this, right? Every time we consider our fathers, our grandfathers, or our elder brothers as the heads of the houses, yes, we have that psychological impact on our minds that we are always given second fiddle treatment. Let's let them eat first. Garam khana inko khila do, hum baad mein khayenge. So at the age of 5 or 6, the girls themselves subconsciously start accepting the second fiddle treatment, and then they're happy with whatever they get. They always learn to compromise with what they get. This belief is so much widespread when she grows up that she accepts whatever positions she gets in the office. She is happy with it. She is happy with unequal pay. Whenever her male counterparts are paid more, she will always tell herself, I have not got equal at home, I'll not get equal at workplace. This is where we should be changing, right? We have made very strict gender roles at home. The guys will go out and earn. The girls, the ladies will take care of kitchen, daily chores, cleaning. The girls will take care of cooking. The girls will take care of kids. Shatter these gender roles. These roles are basically life skills roles that everyone must know. The guy should know how to cook. The guy should know how to change the diaper. The girl should know how to fight legal cases. The girl should know how to manage finances. Only then we will really become an equal society in the real sense, not otherwise. So shatter this glass ceiling and come up, girls. It's now or never. You know, we have often heard people talking about racist jokes, male chauvinistic jokes, sexist jokes, where, we have often heard our society saying, chudiyan pehen lo. Why? I mean, it's an insult. If someone tells, if someone tells a guy ke chudiya pehen lo, so I consider it as a compliment. It's not a drawback. Chudiya, it's a very, first of all, chudiya is a very beautiful thing, and secondly, the girls who wear them are very beautiful inside out. How dare you understand chudiya penlo as an insult? So never use that again. We have often heard our people saying, our mothers telling their male child, अरे रे रो मत, लड़की हो, लड़के रोते नहीं. Why? Everybody cries. It is not a gender thing. Anybody or everybody who feels unhappy, grieved, sad will cry, irrespective of their sex, irrespective of their gender. Crying has nothing to do, crying has absolutely nothing to do with the gender. So, subconsciously at a very early stage, we sow the seeds of inequality. So the guys, when they grow up, try very hard not to cry, and they feel that we are supreme, that we do not cry. Yeah, it's okay to make the girls cry, but it's okay not to cry. So sad, right? तो लड़के ऐसा कहीं ना कहीं समझ लेते कि हम रुला सकते हैं, रो नहीं सकते. We can make the girls cry, but we ourselves cannot cry. Total crap, girls, total crap. Let's absolutely come out of this mentality. And you guys are already the parents of young children, or maybe you are going to be parents. So the world, the society is entirely in your hands. Teach your kids, irrespective of the fact, whatever gender they are, to speak up of wrongdoings. Then maybe 20 years now, we will not need any such seminars on sexual harassment. Right? This is something really very important topic that is very close to my heart. All the guys who are attending this seminar here, we treat our women as objects. We do not treat them as human being, as a person as a whole, but we objectify them so much so that it touches their dignity. We always make her feel that your intelligence, your competence, your skills are of no use to you. We need you for satisfying our sexual pleasures. So you better work on your beauty. You better work on your body, right? This is what we tell them. No, we need smart, health smart, thinking females. Only then they will produce thinking males. Don't you think it is the need of an hour? Let us cut this all crap. So objectification of women, the unrealistic beauty standards, unrealistic beauty standards we have set for the society, that if we look at the television or internet commercials, when they show a hair removing cream advertisement of a hair removing cream, this girl is removing hair from her legs, but her legs which she is trying to shave are already shaved. Matlab, you dare not show hair wale legs on the internet, on the national TV. Why? It's absolutely, let us normalize all such things. In a country like India, which is second densely populated country in the world, to talk about sex is a taboo. We will not talk about sex, but we will keep doing it and keep producing children, right? Such a double minded and double faced people we all are. High time, let us stop talking and start doing. It is we who will be doing it, and it is we who will be doing it today. If we do all these things consciously, we will not need to really talk about sexual harassment, because the impact of sexual harassment is really too bad on females. Let me tell you, you know, uh, physical abuse can be cured, but the mental scars are very deep, which may not be known to anyone. And the world is so cruel कि scars दिखते नहीं है तो है नहीं, but the scars are inside the minds, and you have to live with it as long as you live. You know, these are some of the very common impacts of sexual harassment. The girl who has been a victim to sexual harassment is always full of self blame and guilt. She herself feels, and the society also makes her feel, that you would have given some inappropriate signals, you would have worn short clothes, your body language would be inappropriate कि आपके साथ ऐसा हुआ. She suffers from many sleep disturbances. She cannot sleep for days and nights and months together. She suffers from depression, anxiety, fear. She withdraws herself from the family. She stops trusting anybody. She cannot confide in the family because she's always afraid that family, rather than taking my side, will always blame me for the wrongdoing. They stop behaving naturally. Their talk changes, their walk changes. They start thinking negative things. In turn, what happens is it affects their productivity. They cannot work with efficiency in the office. So it's a vicious circle. Because she doesn't work at the office efficiently, the boss will blame her for not doing it. So there is no end to that circle. Absolutely, let's cut the circle and put an end to it. Sometimes the consequences are so dire that the lady involved commits suicide, and we see cases of committing suicide, right? So the impacts of sexual harassment are very, very harsh, very, very tragic, and very, very sad, right?